By all industry expectations, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 should not exist. It should be impossible. It certainly shouldn't be as good as it is. This video's a little different, but I wanted to talk about this topic. There's a much bigger video here about this game, focused on the way the combat's designed. They basically took Sekiro and combined it with Persona, and I think that's brilliant. The way the narrative plays out, the art style. But right now, I just wanted to focus a bit on how this game was made and how we, as an industry, need to find a way to do more of this. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last week or so, you've probably heard of this game by now. Let's be honest, it's kind of a miracle that you did. It's got seemingly everything going against it from a typical industry perspective. Small team, relatively niche gameplay mechanics, very distinct French art style, and narrative sensibility. Competing for attention in a crazy crowded market, even within its own niche. I mean, they released in the same week that Oblivion shadow dropped. Understanding why it shouldn't exist according to the current industry tells us a lot about, honestly, what's wrong with game development today. Maybe it's naive, and sure, there was always money involved, but when I first got into games a long time ago, it felt a lot more like following a passion, following something that you loved playing and trying to improve upon it. That felt like the path to success. But over time, a lot of the decision making when it comes to making a game, building something, coming up with a new idea is no longer around would it be fun, or even does this game just deserve to exist? It's become much more about, is there a market for this? Is there an audience? Is there an opportunity to monetize it? Is there infinite DLC opportunities? How big is the market cap? What crazy technology is it taking advantage of? All of those ideas or methods, those reasons for making games, they exist. They're fine on their own. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with chasing those things purely from a business perspective. What I am saying is that this focus has consequences. We're not seeing enough in the industry today around investing in things that just deserve to exist. This obsession with marketability and monetization, it all comes about because of productized thinking. Games have become productized. Games as a service, as opposed to games because they're just fun. The whole point of a game is to be entertainment. Imagine saying this is a movie for a service, or this is a TV show or a book for a service. Just because games can be very retentive doesn't mean the right way to build every game is to turn it into some sort of service. And worse, often the people who should be being served, the audience, the ones paying for it, are instead the ones being exploited. So many games with this game as a service business model feel just predatory. Everything about them feels intended to try and take advantage, to take as much money as possible. The balance is completely off, and I'm tired of it. I'm not the only one, right? There's so many people out there who are kind of exhausted by it. They're tired of being exploited. This is, I think, why games like Kingdom Come Deliverance and now Expedition 33 hit so hard right now. They feel different. They feel like a breath of fresh air. They feel like entertainment again. If we look at the current model for deciding what games should get invested, this team should never have made this game. Think about it. 5 years ago, when they started, Persona was fine, Final Fantasy was there, but JRPGs and turn-based mechanics weren't massive. They weren't something an investor would look at and go, oh yeah, huge market opportunity. On top of this, 5 years ago, remember, mid-pandemic crazy, most people were investing heavily in social, highly competitive multiplayer. Everything had to be social. DLC, monetization, that's where the money was perceived to be. We've seen the result of this kind of thinking with Concord. All these shooters chasing the same perceived market. Those decisions to make these games happened 4 or 5 years ago, at the exact same time Expedition 33 was just getting started. In an environment when pretty much everyone was probably saying, you're crazy if you're not making a social live service product, the Expedition 33 team went ahead and effectively said, yes, stuff you. They said, we are desperate to make this game, one with a dishonored art style, with French narrative influences, with incredibly unique gameplay. They just said, stuff off to the prevailing trends. They bucked that and built something dominantly based on passion. There is nothing about this game by today's standard investment logic which suggests it should exist. And yet, look at the reaction. There's no reason it should have gone as viral as it has, except for the fact that it is just a good game that has a passionate team that were desperate to make it. It's enjoyable to play. You feel safe playing it, not like you're constantly being sized up for your wallet. It's a narrative-driven game. You know it's going to end. It respects your time. So if the current model would have rejected Expedition 33, but the game is clearly resonating, what does it say about the current model? It says the thinking is broken. It's driven by this flawed productization, and particularly by an over-reliance on analytics. Too many games are excessively analytics-driven. Again, I'm not saying analytics are fundamentally bad, but I am saying we index way too much into that data when making decisions about what should exist or not. Because what does the data actually show? It all shows the same result. It all tells the same story, born from whatever SteamDB is highlighting right now, or whatever that you can pull from Newzoo. So they look at that data and they say, well, Kingdom Come Deliverance and these other single-player RPGs are very successful today, so you should make one. And then teams use that same data, pitch that same idea, and get funding because the data makes sense today. I'm going to wager a bet. I might be wrong, but right now, I'm pretty sure everyone is probably pitching single-player role-playing games. I almost guarantee you, they're saying, look at the current success of games like Kingdom Come, etc., etc., and the game idea is basically Kingdom Come Deliverance 3 with a small team. That's the expectation based on today's snapshot. The problem is, that game's gonna come out in 3.5, 4 years. The next big opportunity identified by today's data is really just a highlight. It's a snapshot of what is successful today. You cannot reliably predict what is successful in the next 3 years using that method. Maybe someone can. Maybe there's someone out there with a magic 8-ball that told them turn-based, Persona-inspired, French-made RPGs with a future back in 2020. But I don't think so. In a world of ambiguity when it comes to entertainment, which is what games are, you can't predict precisely what's going to be successful years down the line. So instead, people rely on this data, which is really false confidence anyway. It's only a snapshot of the current gaming environment being used to make decisions about something releasing years from now. It doesn't work. I've been doing this for a long time now, and never have I seen anyone who can sit down and say, hey, this is where the industry is going to be in 3 years, and be correct based purely on information and analytics. There's no way to predict the future of entertainment trends with that kind of certainty, just like you can't reliably predict the weather 6 months from now. So what can you predict? You can predict passion. You can predict a team that deeply cares, that lives and breathes their idea. You can assess if they have competency to build something together that will reflect that passion in the end result. That's what deserves to exist means to me. Sometimes things just need to happen because people care about it that much. They're desperate to make it. They're dying to make it. They think about it when they wake up. It's the only thing they want to do. Sometimes those people just need a little bit of funding to get to the end result. And this is what gets lost in all the talk of disrupting the industry with technology, or dramatically speeding everything up, or taking the human out of it. That's what productizing games has led to. We've taken the human element, the creative spark, the art out of too many games. Games are entertainment for humans, and humans are erratic and weird and wonderful. You cannot predict what people are going to enjoy years from now with a spreadsheet. Too many people talk about games as being black and white, about being what works and what doesn't. That then creates scenarios like what we've had back 4 years ago, where the only thing being funded were these live, massive service competitive games, because everyone looked at Overwatch and was like, well, that's successful. We have to build something to compete with that. There must be a market for it. If you make those decisions based solely on data reflecting today or the last few years, you're kind of setting yourself up for a hard time. We all look at Expedition 33 and we go deep down inside, yeah, this is what I want. And what we don't realize is that this actually what we desperately need. This is exactly what we need more of in the industry. We need more of games like this. We need more games that exist for the sake of existing. It's art, it's not science. Some games exist just to show us what's possible, to show us passion. I really hope that people who are investing carve out, or big companies that have budgets for investing in any type of game, carve out some amount of that money that they have for this kind of opportunity. I desperately hope the industry doesn't just look at Expedition 33 and go, oh, okay, now we need to fund more Persona-inspired RPGs. That would be the same mistake, just chasing a new trend. What I hope is that the industry starts looking for these small, passionate teams with ideas they live and breathe, ideas they have to make. Fund those. Data is valuable, sure, as a tool, but as the primary driver for creative investment, at the end of the day, stuff it. It's a security blanket. It's meaningless for predicting the future hit. Fund the people. Fund the passion. Is it risky? Yeah. Sure. But everything in this business is risky. There's absolutely no guarantee that putting $200 million into a project based on trend data means you'll make any of it back. That level of investment has also ended up creating these exact situations of homogenous, often exploitative games. So even if funding a passion project doesn't end up as successful as Expedition 33, I think that's okay. Find a way to be okay with that risk. Stepping back, what is this all about? What can we take from this? Is that we need a shift. What's the thesis of this video? We need to start investing in things that just deserve to exist. It might not be what the spreadsheets think we want to create, but looking at games like Expedition, it's clearly what players and the industry itself desperately need. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.